Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. I'm loving it. If you're what's happening to me? Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a basic smoky eye tutorial. So I'm just going to talk through how I do my smoky eye, tips and tricks to achieve the best results, what kind of brushes you'll need, and the colours that I like to choose. You'll notice I have a new backdrop. I had my birthday last week and this was one of the things I asked for. I just got a quick cheap backdrop to start off with just to see how it works. So hopefully I'll get some more in the future. Let me know what you think. If you like it, if you hate it. It's rose gold glitter, I like it. As a disclaimer, this is not written law on how to do a smoky eye. This is just my opinion, this is my advice. It's how I learnt to do smoky eyes and how I think they work well and you can get a good result, but it's your preference. You know, you can take what you want and do what you want with them. It's not law, just saying. So don't come for me if I did it wrong. So to achieve a smoky eye, you need 3 basic shades to start off with, to do a really basic one. You want your transition shade still, so if you're doing black, maybe a pale grey. If you're doing brown, maybe a neutral light brown. You need your darker shade to darken it up, so either a black or a dark brown. And you need your neutral shade, so a pale white or a cream or a tan, just whatever suits your skin tone, but you basically just want to follow in shade colours. So when I first started doing makeup, my favourite palette for this was the Smashbox Smoke Box. If anyone has it, I lived on it. And the shades look like this. And it is perfect for, you've got that neutral, you've got that grey, and you've got that black. So it's really good to achieve a simple smoky eye. If you want to delve into it a bit deeper, you can add more tones to it to make sure that you are blending it as well as possible and you get that really soft blended effect, and that will make it look nicer. But to start off with, 3 basic shades is all you need to get a good smoky eye. Same goes for brushes. So you at least really could do with 3 different brushes to achieve a well blended smoky eye. So brushes wise, you need a big fluffy brush, as you do normally with a transition shade. So like I have my favourite, which is my Morphe M504, and it's just quite a big fluffy large brush, which really helps you dust that transition all the way around and cover a lot of area with it, and it's good for blending back when you've put on the darker shades. You need a smaller tapered brush. So this one is my Morphe M330, which I like for this. And it's just still quite a fluffy brush, but it's just a bit smaller and it's got that tapered edge. And I would use this as my darker shade. So when I'm putting on my darker shade of colour, just so it's a bit smaller so you can be a bit more precise with where you lay it, but it's still fluffy so it's good to blend up. And you need a smaller rounded packing brush for your light shade. So you could just use this to put the light shade on your inner third. A smoky eye can be all kinds of different shades. It's what you want to make it. If you want to go for black, that's fine, you can do that. However, it is a bit difficult to master a black smoky eye just because you really need to work on that blending because it's such a dark shade. If it's not blended right, it can just look a little bit choppy. So I'd probably recommend trying your darker smoky eye and doing a dark grey first. As your dark shade instead of a black. You can always use a tiny bit of black to deepen, that's probably what I'll do today, but I'd probably focus more on a grey shaded smoky eye because you can still get that very dark without using a black shade. So for today I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry Palette. It's just a really nice browns and greys. It's got a little pop of colour, but I'm not going to use that today. And it's got some really pretty shimmers in it as well. But it's really good just for a neutral smoky eye. So I can use these shades if I was doing a brown based one. I'm probably going to focus on the greys today. First things first, I'm going to get my hair out of the way. So I'm just going to take my hairband and bung it back. Okay. I'm going to zoom you in, just so you can be real up close and personal. Okay, I know I've zoomed you in loads, but I want you to really be able to see what I'm doing and where I'm placing the colours, because a smoky eye can be quite difficult if you're not sure where you're aiming for. So welcome to my face. I'm going to start by laying down my base, and I'm going to use my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, which you've seen me use before. You can use whatever base you have, and I'm just going to use my finger to lay it down and press it onto the skin. Oh, hello. Okay, now I'm going to take my big fluffy brush and I'm going to very lightly take the shade Slate. I'm going to barely touch it with my brush and just dust off all the excess. The biggest thing about a smoky eye is less is more. Start with little and build, and that's the best way to get a well blended result. So I'm going to take it and tap it, and then I'm going to place it where I would my transition, so on the outer V and then up above my crease, and just blend it upwards lightly. I'm going to deposit most of the colour here in the outside V, and then I'm just going to lightly blend up. Once you've got your transition shade smoked out the way that you want it, you can start picking up more pigment and laying it down just nearer the crease so that your colour is a lot more pigmented, and it will make it nicer to blend into the darker shades at the end. I'm happy with the way that that's blended, so I'm just going to take my fluffy brush and put it to the side because I'll use that later to blend out a little bit more. So now I'm going to take my smaller tapered brush, my Morphe M330, and I'm going to pick up the darker shade, which is the shade Noir, which is just a pure black. Again, for yourself, you can take a darker grey, you can do these in browns, do whatever you're comfortable with. If you're taking black like I am, take the smallest amount, dip it a tiny bit on your brush and tap it off a lot, because you really want to build this gently so that you don't have a choppy, mucky smoky eye. So I'm going to take a touch of that on my tapered brush, and where you can see the tapered side is, I'm going to use that to lay it onto my eye. So I'm just going to press it on that outside there, do the same as before, and lay down the colour, and then blend upwards. With pigmented blacks, a little goes a long way. So now that I've laid down that colour, I'm just going to take the point of my brush again, and I'm going to blend into my crease and into that grey that I've laid down already. For the darker shade, for my black, I'm going to focus it on that outside third and just blend it lightly into the front and up. I'm not going to bring that all the way into the front of the eye like I did the grey, because I want the emphasis of the darkness to be on my outside of my eye to bring attention to it and make it a bit more cat-like. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my big fluffy brush from before, make sure that it's kind of tapped off and just get rid of any excess on the back of my hand. And then I'm just going to use that to blend over the grey and the black that I've just merged together, to make sure that that blend is soft. For this part, take as long as you need, take as long as you can, and just keep going in between these shades if you need to. So, you know, keep packing your darker shade on, and then if you want to take the grey and just blend it a bit more on that transition, and then take the dark and blend. Just go in and out as much as you need to, just to make sure that you have a really nice seamless blend, and then you'll get the best result that you can. So I'm happy with the depth that I've got and the shade that I've managed to create here. So now I'm going to go in with my lighter shade. So I'm going to take my flat little belly brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade Fresh, which is just a pale creamy kind of shade, quite a light shade. I'm going to take a fair amount but still tap off the excess, and I'm just going to take that on where I've left bare, that inside portion of the eye. I'm going to take it as high as my crease, and I'm just going to blend it into the grey. For the lighter shade, you can pack it on as light as you want to. You don't have to blend as much as you did with the darker shades. You can just pack on that shade so you've got a nice bright inner corner, and it will help make your eye look bigger and give it that larger effect. Once you're happy with how pigmented you've got your lighter shade, I'm going to go back in with my big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to make sure that it's blended in the middle well, and then it blends into the grey and blends into the black. Again, you can take your time doing this if you want to blend it a tiny bit and then go back in with that pale shade and then go back in with the dark shade. Take as long as you need, blend as well as you can. It's what will give you the nicest effect when it comes to this. Something else you can do to jazz it up a little bit is you can always take a shimmery shade and kind of put that in between. So where you'd put the grey to gradient in from light to dark, you could use a nice bright shimmery shade, like in my palette I've got quite a few of them, and you can just use your finger and just put it on the middle, and it will just give you a nice kind of more effective smoky eye, and just keep that bright just on the very inside corner and have like a really pretty shimmer on that inside. I'm going to keep mine matte just because that's what I want to do today, but yeah, you can always add a little shimmer just to that middle part and it will look really flattering. What I like to do when I'm having a really sultry smoky eye is, instead of using a liquid liner or a pen liner, I use my powder that I've used in my smoky eye, and I will just take an angled tight packed brush. So I've got, this is actually a brow brush from Real Techniques, and it's just an angled, fairly tight packed brush, and I'll take my noir shade and I will just pack it as close to the lash band as I can and just gently smoke it out, just so you've got that kind of smoked liner effect, and it just complements the smoky eye as a whole. Practice makes perfect with this. If you've got very hooded eyes, be careful, maybe just leave it at this, because if you get the liner a bit too thick, it can just kind of cover your whole lid, blur out the whole effect, and then you won't get the lovely effect that you've already made there with the gradient. So if you have a really, big eye shape, it will complement it well, and you can go as big as you want with your liner. Practice makes perfect, and also preference. If you like a big liner, do it. But just try and get it as tight as you can to that lash band, so you've still got that gorgeous gradient effect that you've made. Okay, so that is my finished smoky eye. That is how I would do it. I'm quite happy with the gradient of it, and I've done just a tight little liner effect with my black powder there. You can add lashes if you want to. I think it looks nice, especially if you're on a night out, or you can just do a few coats of mascara. Totally up to you, but yeah, I'm pleased. Okay, I'm gonna go off camera and do my other eye, and then I'll come back. I've just gone off and done my base off camera and added some lashes, just because I think they complement the eye look. I'm going to come back and just show you how I smoke out the lower lash line and the lipstick I'm going to choose as well. The only difference in my base today is I normally take my bronzer down my cheekbones and over my nose, as you've seen in other videos. I just think it gives a nice sun-kissed natural effect. However, today I wanted like a sultry, Smokeys kind of vibe. So I've just taken it down the cheekbone and left my nose alone. So I'm going to take my dual-ended Eco Tools brush so that I can use this end, which has the flat, tightly packed, slightly rounded brush on the tip. And I'm going to go in with the shade Slate, that pale grey, and just take it and tap it. And then I'm going to pop it on the lower lash line, just on the outside third, and blend it into that middle, but I'm not going to bring it all the way in. Reason being, we've got this really nice gradient effect, and it brings attention to the outside of the eye, and with the highlight on the inside of the eye and the lighter shade, it just gives that bigger eye effect and this really sexy kind of cat eye effect. So I don't want to bring dark all the way to the inside of the eye, because it will kind of take away from that. So I'm going to mirror kind of what's on top and just bring that grey to the outside third and leave that inside bare. So I'm going to take my Slate and just pack it and blend it. I'm going to pick up some more colour and just get that pigment darkest on that outside corner, because I don't want to add any black to it. I just want this grey shade, and just blend it out. As so. Okay. Now I'm going to take the mascara that I used, which was my Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced, and I'm just going to coat my lower lashes. So that's my eyes all finished off. For my lips, I'm going to take my Red Rock shade in my MAC lipstick, which is just quite a bright red. I think I just want to go for a classic kind of smoky eye red lip. I think it complements and it's just a really nice look. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to do my lips. So tense. Okay, so that's my finished look. Again, it's not law. You can do a smoky eye however you want to. There's lots of different methods. There's different ways that you can achieve a smoky eye effect. This is just the way that I think is simplest in achieving the best effect that you can. Hope you like the finished look. I think it's just a classic that everyone should kind of have in their arsenal. A smoky eye just goes well with everything and it looks nice for a daytime if you want to do light shades, and it looks sickening in the nighttime if you want to glam up like this and just go for it. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate the support. Like the video if you loved it. Give me any suggestions, you know, feel free to comment on anything you'd like to see in the future. And I will see you in the next one. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, bye! Hello! What? Get it right.